Good evening and welcome to the Job Search Solution radio program, where we talk about looking for a job, changing jobs, changing careers, hiring. And as always, we begin with a prayer. Dear God, grant us thy peace and thy mercy. Thy will be done. And in just a few minutes, Rich Savitsky is going to be with us talking about consultants in the workplace. He's got a great topic this evening, as always. We're talking about group interviews. Oh boy, what a disaster they can be. But before we get to that, we want to spend 10 seconds being grateful. Think of 3 things today that made you grateful. You can't be unhappy when you're grateful. Go. Being grateful. It's wonderful. All right. We spoke about the first session on the group interview. Today, we're going to talk about a couple of things, then we're going to get into stories. After your group interview, you want to immediately write down all the names of all the people that were in the group within 15 or 20 minutes of the interview, because if you don't, you won't remember them. You won't remember all of them. Jot down every concern, every hot button you heard about, fresh details. Then you want to be sure that you're going to send individual thank you notes to everybody that was in the panel and everybody that was in the group. This is a small gesture, but it's very important because it shows that you listened to what was going on and you listened to them individually. Now, there are a couple of things to avoid. Avoid bonding more closely with one person than you do with another. Sometimes you can get involved in almost a personal discussion in the group interview with one person that you don't want to. Don't fall into any kind of asking any kind of negative or any kind of blame stories about things that happened in the company that you heard of that you want to ask the group. Anything negative, you want to stay away from that. Don't pose any kind of questions that may put everybody on the defensive. That's a real poor way to be involved in a group conversation. Avoid long answers. That's a real bad way to. I had a candidate the other day that got in. He was only in an interview with 2 people, but he went on and on and on and on in an answer. And in fact, one person said they went on so long that they forgot what the question was. So you want to stay away from that. And make sure you try to sprinkle answers that are going to be across the whole board of everybody, that you've been able to get along well with groups, that you fit well into group settings, and that you've been very comfortable in groups and with individuals. Remember that stories sell. The power of telling stories in a job interview, especially in a group interview, is most important. Stories create connections with people. That's why all great teachers, Christ, Buddha, Aesop, everybody like that, told stories. It gets the people's mind off of the storyteller onto the story. Stories synchronize brains. Uri Hassan is a Princeton professor, and he showed that MRIs taken of story listeners coincide with the storyteller. And that's why stories are so effective, as they synchronize brains. Stories remove the prejudice. By inviting the group to see the world through the eyes of the story, the person that's in the story, you particularly, you cause them to want to mirror what they would do in the story, and thinking about what they would, if they were the person that was involved in the story, what they would do. So it removes the prejudice. Remember, stories bypass the brain's instinct to look for reasons to be suspicious. And then the three things that make a great story: tension and triumph, something tough, something difficult, and then something triumphing, overcoming the difficulty and the tension. A structure, you begin at the beginning and you end at the end, where it goes from poor to good, and then emotional trajectory, where it goes from a sad situation to a positive situation. You got to make sure those three things are in the story. Your stories don't have to be long. They can be very short. 45 seconds, I recommend 45 seconds to a minute, no longer than that. You should have 3 or 4 stories that you have to demonstrate your successes. You can't make them too long. You got to practice this. You got to have 3 or 4 stories, and you can consistently tell the same stories to basically the same group of people. You don't have to be that much of a problem, but you really need to have them down so that when you get in the interview, it's there, and they're there, and you can recall them instantly, and they can demonstrate your work. Stories should definitely be about you, how you overcame, how you met a different problem, and how you were successful at it, and how you triumphed. All right, we're going to take a short break. Stay tuned. This is Tony Fischero with the Job Search Solution.